Good morning, Manitoba. I'm Larry McIntosh, and I'll be your host for the next hour and every Saturday morning from 8 to 9. Thanks for tuning in. Food and Friends Radio is now on TV. Each radio show is filmed and will be posted on Mytoba.ca tomorrow. So if you want to see the TV version of this or previous radio shows, please visit Mytoba.ca. Thanks to 680 CJOB's Nicole, who produces our show, and Riley, who operates the camera, as well as the teachers of the Broadcasting and Media Arts program at TechVoc High School. You can also listen to an audio podcast of Food and Friends at SoundCloud.com and at the iTunes Store. So please just do a search for Food and Friends with Larry at Mytoba.ca or SoundCloud.com or the iTunes Store, and all the shows will come up for your listening or viewing pleasure. It's very important for you to mention that Food and Friends is only available because of 680 CJOB and its advertisers. So please make sure you tune in to 680 CJOB or listen live at cjob.com. My guest this morning is Kevin Klein, President and CEO of Mytoba.ca. I was getting ahead of myself. I was going to say, speaking of Mytoba.ca, but I hadn't actually mentioned your name yet. So good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. Thank you for the mentions.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. So people can actually watch this radio show.
They can.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
On your website.
That's right.
How cool is that?
It's a very neat feature, and I think it's one of those features that that is getting a lot of activity and a lot of engagement because it's different. It's very different.
It's different.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the website, Mytoba.ca. So tell us a little bit about us.
So Mytoba.ca, we have been working on this for almost a year, getting up there, and recently went through a site design change. But it is a website that it's dedicated to providing entertainment news, local news for all of Manitoba, amateur sports, lifestyle, human interest stories. It has it all, but it all talks about Manitoba and Manitobans. That's it. We don't get into the national politics. We don't get into the national issues. Now, there is an option there. If you need to find out the national stories, you can always find them on our site. But we do have a focus and a dedication to Manitoba and Manitoba only.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about, you talked about this site redesign, and I think it's dramatically better. I mean, this old site was good, and I didn't realize how much the new site I liked a lot more. I really like it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a nicer layout, I think, and I think it downloads way faster.
It really does. It's mobile friendly, first of all. So it was really important to us because as society changes, everyone's going to websites by their smartphones or by a tablet of some sort, which is considered mobile. So it had to be mobile friendly. And to be mobile friendly, you have to be fast. Nobody has time anymore. 10 seconds is too long.
It's an eternity.
Too much to do. So we wanted to make sure it was quicker. So thank you for noticing that. It is much quicker. And the design is really based on comments that we've received over the last 6 months since being truly live. We've been asking for feedback from our users, and our users have been fantastic and growing leaps and bounds. So we've taken their comments and we've implemented that on the new design.
Now, this is the homepage for MTS. If you're an MTS subscriber, that would become your homepage.
That's right. All across Manitoba, if you're an MTS internet subscriber, Mytoba.ca will come up as the homepage.
It's fantastic.
And you can detail it to your community if you'd like. So if you're in Portage-la Prairie, you can make sure you're getting You can click on Portage-la Prairie news or weather, whichever you like.
So since it's been launched almost a year ago, it was launched, or you started working on it a year ago?
We started working on it about a year ago. It's really officially been launched for 6 months and a week.
6 months and a week. Okay, that's pretty precise. So you're saying you got feedback from your listeners. No, they wouldn't be listeners, from your users. And you actually took that to put in the new format?
We did. We asked for comments. We didn't have to ask for some because a lot of them did come to us, as it used to be My Winnipeg or MyManitoba.com. And then we aggressively pursued some comments, and we wanted to find out, what items are missing, what items do you want to see more of, what issues are you having with the site, and what do you like and what don't you like. And we took all of that and put it together, and over the course of 2 months, redesigned the entire site.
And I did a survey last week of all my coworkers at work, what their favorite things on the website are. They said that Food and Friends TV was one of the favorite things. The Recipe of the Day from Peak of the Market was one of the favorite things.
Really?
And the community calendar sponsored by Peak of the Market was also a favorite thing.
The top three.
Well, that was just random, but yeah.
Right, random. I'm shocked. Those are all great features, though. We're happy to have them.
But it's really all about news, right? Is that what it's about? Is that mainly about news?
It's me. I guess It's not just news. We're trying to cover stories that don't traditionally get covered in mainstream media. So we're spending a lot of time and putting a lot of attention into amateur sports, so high school sports, to the university level, to AAA level, to girls hockey, for example, and the volleyball and basketball, all these sports that there's thousands of kids participating in, but don't get the coverage because there's not enough resources or, quite frankly, time. So we set aside that time and we focus on those. Now, you'll find out what's happening at the Jets by visiting our site, but you'll also find out what's happening in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League, which is a very good league, and it's very competitive and lots of people are involved. Or, for example, we showed the high school championship game on Mytoba.ca. We had over 7,000 people viewing that game at one point. 7,000 people watching a football game. Now, those people, we could tell, were coming from all across Canada and the United States. Now, a bulk of them, of course, were coming from right here in Manitoba. But to be able to offer that platform for families that have moved away, grandparents or uncles or siblings or even friends, and in some cases with football, we found out some colleges that were watching the game in the United States to see what kind of talent we have here. It is very rewarding for us, and that's the type of content that we're really trying to provide. We try to provide content on local businesses, from local restaurants to top stores to visit, and also human interest stories, health and lifestyle, but written by somebody right here in Manitoba who can relate to what we do here.
And I want to ask you some specifics about the website when we come back after this break. But one issue that I do have is today's horoscope for me was not a good horoscope. Yeah. I'm just saying I think you got to correct that one.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with Kevin Klein, President and CEO of Mytoba.ca, after we take this break for your 680 CJOB weather update. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Food and Friends. I hope you've had an opportunity to see our new bright and colorful potato and onion bags at your favorite store. Peak of the Market's new Sesame Street potato and onion bags feature Elmo, Birch, Grover, Oscar, Abby Rosetta, Cookie Monster, Big Bird, and Ernie. 9 different Sesame Street characters. Along with the characters, you'll still see the Peak of the Market logo, so you're guaranteed it is grown right here in Manitoba. We're very pleased to partner with Sesame Street on the Eat Brighter program. I hope you'll buy some of our potatoes when you see those bags. We're back with Kevin Klein, President and CEO of Mytoba.ca. So, Kevin, what's your favorite Sesame Street character?
Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster.
Without question.
Really?
Yeah. We had to buy a bag of potatoes, and I was searching for the one with Cookie Monster.
Oh.
Has to be there.
Perfect. Well, that worked out well. So Mytoba.ca, we're talking in the last segment, you reformatted it, to come up with a new design, which is much sleeker and from my perspective, loads much quicker, which is one thing I want to do. But you touched on it a little bit, but a section called Voices. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Voices is a section where we've gone out and acquired people to speak on behalf of Manitoba, if you will. Now, and they're not necessarily commenting on what's happening in the political arena or either municipal or national, or they're just talking about the province. Like Laurie Mustard, for example, talks about a different item every week. But it's fun to listen to or to read Laurie's stuff. We have Roger Curry on there who comments on, national items sometimes, but from the prairie perspective. We have Stephen Ripley who loves to talk about travel. Stephen travels all over the place and bikes. When he goes on vacation, he takes his bike. I don't see that as a vacation personally, but okay. But we get his perspective on travel. And there's Ryan Bowman, who did a wonderful feature last summer, and he's going to do it again coming up this summer on all the food trucks right here in Manitoba. So those are our voices speaking about and for Manitoba.
You must have, it's got to be 15, 20 of them anyway.
I think about 27.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of people.
Various
some write
people.
Weekly, some write monthly.
Right.
It varies, I guess. Eh?
Yeah, we have different, and some write about, events or not events or items that they're knowledgeable about, whether it's self-help, whether it's diet and exercise. Jordan is one of the guys that writes a lot for us. He writes about health. That's his kind of genre, but he writes about, good things going on in the city as well.
And this is going to seem silly, but I was watching TV the other day, and I didn't know what was on, and I went to Mytoba.ca, and you have a TV listing on there.
You have the MTS TV listings.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you can find them anytime. Look at the dates you'd like to, or times. You can set your PVR. You can do all kinds of things. Yeah, thank you for recognizing that.
So more and more is being added to the site all the time.
Well, again, even though we've done the redesign now, the next step is to improve every day, continuously improve. So we're constantly, when we get to receive comments about the site and stuff, we're looking at what they're telling us, and we're seeing if there's a way to improve that. We're also speaking to everybody in Manitoba, like we're talking to local businesses and we're talking to, politicians as well. What would you like to see on the site? What's missing on other websites that we can give you so that we become the front door to Manitoba for content?
Yeah, the other item that I noticed on there, and you touched on, I think, but you have shopping on there now.
We do have shopping. That's fairly new. It's only been in the last couple of months, but this is a site that offers discounts on a number of brand name products, from electronics to clothing to perfumes, watches, you name it. And it changes every day. Every day, different products available, and they come from brand name sources as well. Some brand name retail locations, but they're all brand name products available here in Canada.
So when you're starting the site, were you looking at doing that type of thing, putting shopping on there, or TV listings, all the things we're rhyming off, or is it just kind of evolved?
That's a good question, and it truly has evolved. We didn't have the TV listings when we first started, but we received a number of emails saying, "I missed my TV listings." Well, then we're able to address that quite quickly and get the TV listings up there. It's the same for lottery numbers. Everybody, wanted to see the lottery numbers,
Right.
so we acted quickly and got those on there. You alluded to it earlier, horoscopes, which we'll try to fix.
For me, at least.
Well, we'll try. So we got those on there quickly and reformatted those. With the shopping, we had it was a local person that sent us an email about it saying, you don't offer this, and it's our intent now to work with Manitoba companies so that they can get their products on there and offer them at a discounted rate as well. So we're working in the background creating that.
So it's never ending.
It is never ending. I mean, we recently, I think it was only a few months ago, launched Mytoba Cars, which has over 2,000 pre-owned vehicles, all for sale right here in Manitoba. That's the rule. They have to be in Manitoba. And you can find out everything. I mean, there's lots of pictures on there if you want to search cars. You can search trucks, vans. You can search by model. There's car proof on a lot of them. So if you want to find out information about that, you can get that. If you want to talk to the seller, you can send a direct email and ask any questions you want. Maybe you want to negotiate price. You want to set up a time to see it. You can do all of that from Mytoba Cars.
So Mytoba.ca, I've seen it on the site. I've never clicked on it because I'm not interested in a car right now. But is that something you can actually search? These are used cars, are they? Or?
Yeah, they're used cars, pre-owned
So
vehicles.
you can say you want a certain brand and it'll search through for you?
Absolutely. They'll give you all of them that are available, and you can sort them in any way you'd like. New, like from the year, or from price, whichever you like. It's very mobile friendly, very fast on the mobile site. But it allows you to shop from home, if you will. There's pictures, as I said. The car proof is a big thing because you can find out lots about the car. And e-price. You don't have to leave home. You don't have to phone if you don't want to phone, because some people obviously don't want to phone and get into the whole discussion. You can send a private email, and it goes right to them, and they'll answer your question.
Would these be dealers that are participating in
Yeah,
this?
they need to be licensed dealers, because we
Okay,
want to make
yeah.
sure that all the cars on there are legit, that have taken the proper precautions to be safetied and so on. So they are all dealer cars.
And how long has that been up?
I'm going to say 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, about 3 months now. We're very excited about it. We have I think there's over 21 dealers already involved and participating in that, and we're looking to get more every day. And as I said, over 2,000 vehicles at any given time.
Amazing. We'll be right back with Kevin Klein, President and CEO of Mytoba.ca after this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. It's time for a recipe segment called Now We're Cooking. You don't need to write this recipe down, as it is today's recipe of the day at peakmarket.com and now in the Winnipeg Free Press. Today's recipe is spinach stuffed mushrooms. Spinach stuffed mushrooms. Here's what you need for the recipe. 18 jumbo mushrooms, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 cups of spinach chopped, 1 small onion chopped. For best results, use Manitoba-grown onions, 8 ounces of tofu, 1 egg, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of each of salt and pepper, and 18 walnut halves. First, clean the mushrooms, remove the chopped stems, and then set them aside. In a skillet over medium heat, heat the oil and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Then add the mushroom caps, cover, and steam for 2 to 3 minutes, turning once. Drain on paper towels. Then add the Pan juices, add to the pan juices the chopped mushroom stems, spinach, and onion. Cook stirring for 2 minutes. Drain off the excess of moisture and cool. In a food processor or blender, puree the tofu until smooth. Then combine the eggs, cumin, salt, pepper, and the remaining lemon juice and spinach mixture. Spoon into mushroom caps and place the walnut half on top. Place in a baking dish and bake in a preheated 350-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes or until heated through. And then serve warm. And this recipe serves 6. Again, it's today's recipe today at peakmarket.com and in the Winnipeg Free Press. We'll be right back with Kevin Klein, President and CEO of Mytoba.ca, after this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. I want to remind you that Peak of the Market has a Facebook page. Please find us and like us on Facebook. We currently have over 110,000 likes, and we'd love to have you join the group. We're updating our status regularly with news on our charity events and interesting veggie tidbits. So please find us and like us on Facebook. We're back with Kevin Klein, President and CEO of Mytoba.ca. Kevin, do you like me?
Yeah, I am. I like you.
Yeah, you like me? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a question, I guess, but I meant on Facebook. But,
I'm always afraid to unlike.
because I'll know.
Yeah.
You don't actually do know, do you?
Awkward. I don't know.
So Mytoba.ca is obviously a website, but you have Facebook, I assume?
We have Facebook. Find us on Facebook and like us. Do you like us?
I do.
Oh, good. Excellent. We're also on Twitter at Mytoba News, and we are on Google+. We're on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
We're everywhere.
You're everywhere.
We are everywhere. And it's funny. A lot of information. A lot of people find us through social media channels. We can see that information come in, and a lot of it comes from social media channels. It's quite fun. Quite fun.
So you and I have known each other for a long time, and we go back a ways. But for our listeners, you've been involved in media most of your career, right?
Well, all my career.
All your career?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much all. Yeah. Yes. I don't want to say how long.
So you've been involved in TV.
Yes.
You've been involved in magazines. You've
Yep.
been involved in radio,
Yep.
newspaper,
Yes.
and now web-based media.
Yes. Yeah.
Where do you see media going over the next 5 years?
Well, that's a great question. And I truly believe that what we're doing at Mytoba is really the future. It's providing a different type of news, if you will, and information, content, we'll call it. And we're providing content for the province, and we're specific on people. And we try to focus a lot on, individuals that are making a difference, that are impacting the community in a good way. As I said earlier, amateur sports. This is the type of content that mainstream media doesn't have the time or resources to really focus on a lot. Media in Winnipeg does a good job. I'm not saying they do a terrible job or they're not touching it at all. We just are expanding on that. We're trying to provide more of that so that we can touch different corners of the province as the home base, if you will, being Mytoba.ca. But I see, over the years, we've seen newspapers become thinner. Focus some resources online. A lot of the national companies are working tirelessly to launch mobile platforms and to launch new websites and to, make that decision. Do we put it on the line first or do we wait till the paper comes out? And there's a lot of internal decisions that have to be made. But I really believe over time it's all going to end up being, digitally available. Your show, for example, is on SoundCloud. It's on iTunes. It's on Mytoba. Whereas 10 years ago, there would have been one place and one place only, and you would have heard it once and then it would be gone. But now it's available forever and ever.
And ever.
And ever.
You look at something like print media, newspapers, or even TV. If a news story comes out, generally you're going to read about it somewhere online, social media, something fairly quickly. That has to put them at a bit of a disadvantage when it looks at getting the news out. Obviously, radio can happen very quickly. Other medias may not.
Well, and that's where I think the internal decision has to be made. Are we going to put some resources to our social media? Are we going to make sure that it's to be truly effective? Are you going to man your social media 7 days a week, 24 hours a day? And that takes a lot of resources. And those are people that are just producing not necessarily producing, sending out the content. You need now somebody to produce that content. There's been many examples in the last year alone where you could find information out on Twitter well before any media covered it. There was in sports, that's one of the biggest problems they have, right? I mean, you can get the score for sports as it happens. I can be at a Jets game and people are texting, every time a goal happens, or tweeting every time a goal happens, or they're Instagramming it. And then the story doesn't come out for 12 hours. But by that time, everyone's found out everything they want to find out. So now that lends itself to, what's the decision? Are we going to put our resources to social media? And are we going to make sure that we're communicating the way people are communicating? Or are we going to stay steadfast and true to our brand until the very last minute?
From a revenue point of view, I mean, obviously CJOB relies on its advertisers to make this happen. Newspapers, same thing. TV, same thing. Websites, do you get enough advertising to make this work? Is that a challenge? I mean, do people understand? Advertisers understand?
Well, I think advertisers are beginning to understand, and I think that if you can bring the proper number of users to the site every day that can provide some benefit to the advertisers, they're certainly starting to understand that. They're certainly asking the right questions, and I think online it demands that you be a little more creative. You can't just put up a banner ad, if you will, and your address, because it's digital. You have to have something more connected there. You need to have an email or a website, and some people still don't do that.
So I need to change my ad, is what you're telling me, or
a little bit? No, yours clicks right to the website. You're well ahead of the curve.
But when you look at it, a newspaper you can touch and feel, a radio you can hear, a website, yeah, you can go visit it, but you got to convince people that you're getting that. So you share numbers, I assume, with your advertisers, how many unique visits or what? How do you measure that?
We do our unique visitors on a weekly basis. We do unique page views on a monthly basis, which is in the over 1 million.
Oh, wow.
We share all that data, who's going where, what our top stories are. We check it every day. And we try to check our top stories every day to make sure we're doing more of that content, if you will. We also have taken a different approach that we were kind of just talking about a moment ago, where we'll put stuff out on social media that's not on the site. So if we know there's a cold snap, if there's a cold warning, or if there's an accident, we'll just put it out on Twitter. We know it doesn't have to go to the site, but this is news that people want. So we want them to see us as that source, if you will. So if something happens in Churchill, we can get it out right away, and we can get it out on Twitter. And it's funny, stories that happen in Churchill or Flin Flon or Portage, you would think don't have a lot of need or necessity to be broadcast or shared in Winnipeg, but they are just as strong as any Winnipeg story. So people do want to know what's going on in the province.
I would agree with that. And then the other feature I like on the new website is on the side, you have the top stories. So
Right.
it kind of, when I'm just glancing, I'm interested in seeing that. So that was a good feature as well.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Kevin Klein, President and CEO of Mytoba.ca, after we take this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. Peak of the Market is on Twitter. Follow us at Peak of the Market for recipes and Food and Friend guest updates. We have over 120,000 Twitter followers, and we'd love to have you follow us too. Again, we're at Peak of the Market, or you can follow me at Larry McIntosh. We're back with Kevin Klein, President and CEO of Mytoba.ca. Now, Kevin, we talked about it earlier. You've been in media all your life.
Yep.
But you also played hockey as you were younger, right?
Yeah, I'm a big hockey fan. I've played it my entire life. I think since I was 4 or 5. I don't really remember, but I think it's around 4 or 5, and I'm still involved with hockey today.
And a little known fact about me, I can't skate. So
Really?
we would have never played together because I never learned how to skate.
We'll get you out there.
It's a little old for that now.
No,
Something's going to get broken.
Not at all. Not at all.
The reason I talk about hockey, though, you currently ref, right?
Yeah, I'm actually the referee-in-chief for Fort Garry.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. South side of Winnipeg there.
So what do you do? What age group would that be that you ref?
Well, I referee all age groups. I spend a lot of time with our younger officials trying to help them along. So I'll referee hockey games of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
And do you enjoy it?
I love it. I love it. There's obviously times when you make a call, 50% of the crowd doesn't like you. The other 50% are pretty happy. Mm-hmm. So you're like a weatherman. You get it right 50% of the time. But I enjoy it. I enjoy watching our younger officials come up as well, because I think it really teaches them a lot about leadership and about confidence and self-confidence and making decisions on the fly. It's fun watching them grow.
In 2014, there was some controversy about parents at hockey games and some other things. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Sadly,
Is it getting better?
You know what? I think it will always be there. I don't think that, obviously, we've had any of the situations that we had back in 2014, which is a good sign. But I think that there's a passion for hockey. It's a passionate sport, and people are going to react the way they react. It's funny, though. It's worse at the 9, 10, 11 than it is at the 13, 14 and up.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like they think that 9, 10, 11 is a draft year for some reason, and then as they get older, you're whatever, they kind of let it go. But the kids love it, and really you focus most of your attention with what's going on in the game, not what's being yelled from the stands. And most of the time you can't hear; you just hear mumbling sounds or yells or jeers or whatever. But I like the fact that the kids are having a lot of fun, especially doing the younger ages. I actually quite enjoy that. Quite enjoy it because it is all about the sport, and the referees are a part of the game, and you need them to have the sport. And I wish the sport would grow. And I think over the last few years, one of the situations that we've had and that we're facing is that hockey is not growing in its numbers. It's maintaining. It may be losing in some categories. But I really think that I'd like to see the sport grow because it is still one of Canada's national sports, lacrosse and hockey. And I know there's other sports that are growing as well, but this is kind of us. Mm-hmm. This is who we are. And it's, when the World Juniors were on, right? Everybody watches hockey when it's Canada playing. And there's a sense of pride.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a Team Canada jersey and so on. So I'd really like to see the sport grow. I think there's some changes that we need to make that have to happen fairly quickly for it to grow, and hopefully those conversations will start being had.
Is part of it because soccer is relatively cheap for kids to get involved in versus hockey is a more expensive sport?
I've heard that. I don't know personally. I have talked to parents that have kids in soccer and in hockey, and they say it's relatively the same.
Okay.
After you put in the driving and the practices and so on, the equipment might be cheaper to start, but obviously the equipment is going to be a little more with hockey. I think it had a lot to do with the hitting. I really do. And I'm a proponent, which some people like, some people don't, of saying, if a child's playing recreational hockey, there should just be no hitting. We have no hitting now until the age of 13 minor bantam. Hope I have that right. And then there's hitting after that at all levels. My thought is that if you're not going to play AA or AAA or play, go after the elite side of hockey, they should keep the minor hockey at no hitting. Because if you and I talk to lots of kids and lots of players, and none of them want it. Because what happens is as a kid becomes 15, when you're 15, you may have had your growth spurt. So your friend who's 15 might be 2 feet smaller than you, and that's where the issues happen. And that's when I hear kids saying, I don't want to be any part of that, and they wait. And I know a lot of kids that are 16, 17 that have quit hockey that are waiting to play in the adult league where there is no hitting. Okay. So they can go play that when they're 18. And quite frankly, I know lots that have put their own teams together already that are getting ready to go play in those leagues. And that's quite sad because I'm thinking, obviously hockey's not going to be their career, if you will, and the number of people that get drafted into the NHL out of Canada is quite small. Very small percentage of people who play hockey, less than 1%.
Sure. So
let's look at it realistically. And I think if you take out that hitting, that's going to give all the kids an opportunity to play and have fun.
Have you been to some Jets games this year?
I have.
So when you're there and the crowd is criticizing the ref,
yes.
Are you on their side, or
Absolutely.
Are you saying they blew the call, or
no? I'm on the ref side.
Yeah,
and they always yell out "ref you," and there's 4 of them. Which one are you talking about? So if I'm one of those guys, I'm like, I don't know, must have been him over there because it certainly wasn't me. No, it boggles my mind. These guys have been refereeing for their entire life, and this is their career. And I know that they have to know rules by the number. They can't just tell you a rule. They have to know the number and such. They know the game. So I think if you think they missed a call, you should, it's be like you or I being at work and somebody yelling at us.
Absolutely. And you know what? I make the occasional mistake at work too, right? You don't see everything. You can't be everywhere. Look in the other direction. Those things happen.
They do. You just don't have anybody yelling at you for it.
Well, generally not. You're right.
And you wonder why it happens at minor hockey, because it happens at the NHL level. So I think it's the passion for the game. Gotta love it.
Well, it is a passionate game, right?
It is. Yeah. It is. That's why I love it so much.
We'll be right back with Kevin Klein, President and CEO of Mytoba.ca, after we take this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. My guest next Saturday, January 24th at 8 a.m. is Philip Hood, president of River East Travel. And we're obviously going to talk about travel, and he does a lot of traveling, has some interesting trips. We'll be talking to him about that. My guest today has been Kevin Klein, president of Mytoba.ca. The hour's gone by fast.
It went by very fast. Thank you very much for having me.
I assume there'll be a story about this, next week about you being on.
It'll be live on Mytoba.ca.
That's
well,
true.
Not live, kind of recorded live on Mytoba.ca. So.
It'll be on Mytoba.ca along with so many other things, and we were talking about it earlier. Mytobacars.ca,
right.
Something new and up and coming if you want to look for used cars. Your voice section, shopping, TV listings, mobile app, event calendar, which is really a highlight because we sponsor that. Lotteries, horoscope, there's a lot going on there.
Horoscope. It's a big one.
Yeah.
Read your horoscope first thing in the morning. It's not going to be a good day. Stay in bed.
Thank you, Kevin, for being on Food and Friends.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks to Nicole Bonnycamp, our show's producer, and Riley, our camera guy. Take care and please don't forget to eat your veggies.